Hello and welcome to Middlebury Edition. I'm Middlebury Representative Robin Scheu, your host for the program. Middlebury Edition was created primarily for the purpose of educating Middlebury residents about local services and activities and to provide an opportunity for local nonprofits to talk about their work. Today's guest is Natalie Reigle, Regional Director for Addison County of the Vermont Adult Learning Center, or VAL. VAL helps adult learners age 16 and older acquire the reading, writing, math, and computer skills necessary to earn their high school diploma or GED. Natalie has brought with her today a former student, Macey Thayer, and it will be fun to hear her story in just a little bit. Welcome, Natalie and Macey.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin.
It's great to have you on the show. So, Natalie, let's start with you first, and Vermont Adult Learning. So tell me a bit about VAL and what's the mission and where you're located and all those good things.
Thank you. Vermont Adult Learning in Addison County is located at MarbleWorks. We just moved there in June. We were located at the second floor of the Hope Building prior to that. So we're in the former MarbleWorks pharmacy location.
Oh, okay.
But that's just for Addison County.
Right.
Vermont Adult Learning actually covers 7 counties. We have Franklin, Grand Isle counties, Chittenden, Addison, Rutland, and then Windsor and Wyndham.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, also.
So where do other people who aren't in those 7 counties, is there some equivalent?
There's an equivalent,
Okay.
yeah, other providers.
Okay.
So, like you said, we do offer, GED and diploma programs, but we offer so much more than that. We have a large ELL program,
Which is
English for Language Learners.
Okay.
So we mostly up in Chittenden. There are certain areas where it's a little bit more active than others. We have adult basic ed, which could be everything, which is really reading, writing, and math, which could be anything from just learning or brushing up on reading skills if someone really struggles with that, to preparing to go to CCV. So let's say you want to go to college, but you haven't been in school for quite a while. You can come to us to brush up those reading, writing, and math skills. Also, we have people coming to us who are working on a certification. So say Praxis, if they want to be a teacher, that's a certification for licensure for a teacher, and they struggle with, say, the math assessment, and we can help with that, and we have for a number of people. Or wanting a CDL but need help with test prep, it's just struggling to pass a test, we can help with that too. Okay. So that looks very different, but it comes down to reading, writing, and math.
Yeah.
And then we have workforce development. We have a program with that also. And
Tell me a little bit more about that.
So we have, in some areas, we have a education at work. So this is where we actually go to the workplace, and we can help, say, if there's a number of employees who are new Americans, we can go to the workplace and help with English skills, reading skills, and things like that for the employer, for part of his workforce. In Rutland, we have a program called Energy Works, which is a 3-week program for 18 and older, which is a weatherization program. So people who participate in that get trained to go into the weatherization business. And there, we support it in the classroom, again, that reading, writing, and math, maybe some soft skills, but then there are actual people who do weatherization that do the hands-on training. And so it's a partnership with quite a few different groups, and that's ongoing.
That's a great one, because I know we in the legislature have tried to ramp up the amount of money we give for weatherization, and the question always comes up, do we have the workforce to do it.
Hence
so
the program.
I'm
yeah.
so glad to know that you're part of the creating that workforce.
Yeah, we're looking at expanding that into other areas.
Mm-hmm.
Franklin Grand Isle, I think, is probably the next one for it to expand
That's
into.
great.
So even though it's in Rutland, it's really Rutland and Addison. We're involved in that too. Yeah.
So I can see that you would bring in, actual contractors to come talk about that work. But when you talk about the reading, writing, and math pieces, do you actually have your own instructors, or do you? How does that work? So can anybody be an instructor? Or?
Well, I won't say we have a lot of volunteers. So Vermont Adult Learning has full-time staff, part-time staff, adjuncts, also, and volunteers.
Okay.
So in our office in Middlebury here, we rely pretty heavily on adjuncts and volunteers.
Okay.
So if someone wants to be a volunteer, we do have people come in fairly regularly, especially now that we're in Marbleworks, so we're just more visible. So we're getting more people dropping in. We talk to them. I talk to them, see about their background, see what they've done in the past, and ask for resumes, some references, and we do go through fingerprinting and all that.
Yeah.
And then we work on matching that volunteer or adjunct up with a student and we really take our time with that because we want it to be good for both of them.
Sure.
So
that's great. And is there any sort of other training for the volunteers?
We just in-house, we go through some of the tests that we have to give students. There's an assessment called the Test of Adult Basic Ed that all our students take, and we do progress assessments to make sure we want them to gain skills, and that's our way to measure that.
Right.
So, we let them know how to become familiar with the TABE. Also, even though we aren't, a lot of our students, not all of them, but a number of them might have learning disabilities, so we might provide support that way, and we have a number of people on staff who have that background, special educators. Yeah.
Great. That's great. And the pandemic must have affected your work. How have you had to adjust?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
During COVID?
It really did. Before the pandemic, before that March, we were not doing online learning at all. It was actually something, even through our grants with the Agency of Ed, we weren't really allowed to do that. It wasn't part of our grants. It was in person. And so we had to really make a huge switch. We closed down our offices. All the teaching staff had to become very familiar suddenly with just a number of different programs, but including Zoom, of course. And but there are a lot of programs that just make online learning more accessible and more interesting, and so we a lot of trainings. We just really stepped up and got quite a few Chromebooks to each office that we then sent out to students who didn't have computers at home. Hotspots if there was connection issues.
Sure.
And it was just a big push to just do that. And here we are now. All our centers are open at least partially, and we have more of a combination of in-person and online. But we created an online learning center, so a brand new center, which I'm also director of.
You're managing that,
and where we just realized these teachers from all over Val develop these great online courses.
Sure.
And that we don't have these walls anymore, that a teacher up in Chittenden could include a student in Addison in their class. So it broke down the walls that we had before. And So it's pretty exciting. We now, we're about ready to roll out the 2022 schedule, and we have, we just have a variety of classes and some, reading, writing, math focused mostly, but we have financial literacy, we have a work readiness course, we have some history courses that are kind of interesting too.
Oh,
And
that's great. And by doing this, I think so many businesses and educational kinds of organizations, you realize you can increase the access for students as long as they have internet, which we also know is a real problem. We do understand that. And but if they have access, then they have actually access to many more courses, right, that they might not have, and you don't have to get maybe as many volunteers, and it cuts down on travel time.
Right.
People wouldn't take a course maybe in Burlington if they had to drive from Salisbury or something.
Right, exactly.
But if they can do it online, that's great. So maybe you're getting more students too?
Yeah, we did get a drop with students through the pandemic, but I will say that the online learning did provide access to a lot of students. So we do have a number of students where just those online classes is what works for them and why they're with us. Yeah.
So tell me more about the students you serve.
Well, 16 and older is who we serve. Yeah. And we have students that come to us for a variety of reasons. And sometimes, I have to say in Addison County, GED and diploma program are the programs where most of the people come to us to access. And that doesn't mean they're all right out of school. We can provide that diploma program where someone can come and get their diploma from an area school for someone who's maybe been out of school for 20 years or so. And sometimes those students come because they have children now, and they want to have that diploma to be a good role model for their children. Sometimes we get students or people come to us who have been injured in work. Maybe they were in construction and now they can't. They're older, they can't do construction anymore, and they need the skills, also the paper, diploma or a GED, to move into a different job. And so we provide that. We've had quite a bit of a success that way, where we've had people come in, we dust off the cobwebs, so to speak, and a lot of our students move on to CCV from there. And we have the ELL programs, so so we have new Americans that access that from all kinds of different, variety of different countries.
Yeah, and we may be getting more. So before we turn to Macey, could you explain the difference between a GED and a high school diploma? Because I think there's a lot of confusion, including from me.
Yeah, I can, and I'm happy that you asked that, because there's a perception about the GED that I don't think is accurate.
Okay. Please dispel.
Yeah. So our diploma program is students or people come to us, and we work with the local school, whatever school district that they reside in. So even if they maybe left high school however many years ago, recently or 20 years ago, in another state, we work with the school in their district where they live now here in Vermont. We get their transcript from whatever school and share it with the local school, and who then says, okay, they need to earn these credits to get a diploma from us. And then they work with us to get earn those credits. We develop a personalized learning plan, and where we can really hone in on their interests or their goals moving forward. So we try to work in certificate programs if that helps them with their goals, or if they, want to be a fireman, we might incorporate that into their history credit or English by reading books about fires or firemen or whatever. So that, and then once they finish those credits and the school agrees, they earn their diploma. So the GED is a series of 4 tests: language arts, math, social studies, and science. And once someone passes all 4 tests, and they have quite a bit of time to do that, and it can be one test at a time, they earn a GED, which is a diploma equivalency program. And the GED test was aligned more with the Common Core in 2014. So it is, I think it's a great test. I really, I like it. It's someone who earns a GED really shows their skills in those areas. And I think a lot of employers are realizing that
so it's a pretty thorough test.
It's a pretty thorough test that they know where their skills are if someone's earned a GED. So employers recognize it. State schools, CCV definitely does. In fact, if someone scores really well on the GED, I don't remember the score, but they can earn college credit.
Oh, great.
So kind of like an AP thing. So they can, CCV would maybe say that they don't need to take the freshman English course because they scored really well on the language arts part. A lot of homeschoolers come to us to take the GED as that final, piece of paper
Great. Okay. Well, speaking of students, Natalie, you've brought along Macey with you, who is a former student, and we really appreciate you coming on the show, Macey. So thanks for being here. So tell me, let's go back a bit. Tell me how old you were when you started with Vermont Adult Learning.
So I was 18 when I started at Vermont Adult Learning. I kind of decided high school wasn't really it for me. I really, I've been working since I was 14. I just want to work. Even in college, it's really hard cutting down my hours so much. So I just wanted to work, and doing a normal 8 to 3 was kind of difficult for me. So I just decided to look at Vermont Adult Learning, and I just found that it was so much more flexible for me, and I still got the same courses, just in a different way. I didn't realize that they would be so catered to me and my interests, which was really nice. It wasn't just this is what you do, this is what you learn. It's what do you want to learn?
Oh, wow.
So that was the really nice part.
And how did you hear about Vermont Adult Learning in the first place?
So one of my friends went to Vermont Adult Learning, and he completed his GED program through them. And then also my older brother, he did Vermont Adult Learning when he was younger.
Okay.
So that's how he has his high school diploma. So he talked to me about it too once I asked him, and I thought it was pretty interesting.
So, were you when you said you were 18 when you started, and you were partway through high school at that point, or?
Yep. So I was starting my junior year.
Okay. So in theory, you had 2 more years of high school left.
Yes.
And did you end up choosing the diploma program or the GED program?
I finished my diploma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. And when did you finish that?
I finished in August of 2021, a week before I went to college.
Oh my goodness! Well, wow. So that was just recently.
It was very recent.
Yeah. Congratulations.
She was finishing up with us as she was applying to college, and we we just knew it would all work out.
Yeah, well, you sound very much like a go-getter, so I'm not at all surprised based on what you've said. So, so how was doing all that through the pandemic? What was that like?
It was very difficult. It was nice because Vermont Adult Learning, like, they were very understanding of, like, I have to work. Like, because with the pandemic, I worked at Hannaford, and we were very understaffed and busy as heck, you know. So if I was like, I have to work, I'm sorry. Like, they were very understanding. But it was also nice because I could, you know, do a Zoom meeting from 11 to 12 and then go into work at 1.
Oh,
so that was the nice part.
Yeah.
I definitely had a little bit more freedom with choosing my time.
Yeah.
Even if I just couldn't come in, I still was able to do some type of schoolwork.
Yeah. And so you would work that out with your instructor?
Yep.
And the flexibility, and they were home too, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
where are they going to go? So yeah, so I keep hearing this flexibility thing, and that really made a big difference.
Yes.
For you. Did it, and the pandemic, did it sort of slow down how quickly you could get through because you were working also? I mean, that's kind of a lot to juggle, so.
It definitely did slow down. Just because I was working way more than I anticipated.
Yeah.
But in the end, I was thankfully able to finish and graduate. So that was the important part.
That's great. That's great. So you said you were finishing up and you were applying to college. So tell me about where you've ended up and how you decided and what you're doing. And
so I now am a freshman at Castleton University in Castleton, Vermont. My major is business management with a minor in marketing. So I pretty much finished college like the 13th or something. And
finished
then
high school.
Yep, finished high school, sorry. Finished high school like the 13th. It was like sometime that week, and then I went to college the next week.
Oh my goodness.
So it was very, very close, but it all ended up working out perfectly for me.
And they must have accepted you earlier, but on the condition that you finish your your high school.
Yes, I was accepted end of June, and it was anticipated to be finished by August 15th.
And you did. You did. And you're not majoring in one thing. You've got a couple of things
Yeah.
going on. How did you end up picking the major that you picked?
So my goal is to own my own business. I've always been around entrepreneurs. My brother has 2 very successful businesses. So after talking with him and asking, like, what should my major be, given my end goal, he said, you know, I think business management would be the best idea for you, and the minor in marketing will definitely be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's great. So how do you like it so far?
I really love it there.
Oh, good.
It's
Are
very
you
nice.
are you living on campus?
I am, yes.
Oh, that's fun. So you're getting to see other students and
Yes.
be back in the world again.
A little bit, yes.
And all the courses are in person?
For the most part,
Okay.
most of the courses are in person, but the nice thing about Castle is that you can take courses with CCV as well.
Oh, okay.
And those are all hybrid. The ones I'm taking are online. So I have online classes and then I have in-person classes.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice because I can do my own work by myself, and then I can also be around a ton of people.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And do you feel that Vermont Adult Learning gave you the education you needed to succeed at Castleton?
I believe so, and it kind of made me a little bit more ready for college than normal high school, in my opinion, just because I was able to study what I wanted to study. I didn't have people be like, oh, you're going to read this book. It's like, what book do you want to read? So that was definitely the nice part. It kind of gave me a taste of college before actually being there.
Yeah. Yeah, you were really more in charge of your own learning.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So were there some challenges that you faced in pursuing this path, or things that you had to sacrifice or give up to go this route instead?
I guess one thing I had to sacrifice was a normal senior year, but also looking back with the pandemic, I don't think I would have had a normal senior year.
That's right.
So I do miss I wish I could have had my prom, but it's would I have even had a prom?
Yeah. Maybe you picked this was the right time. And
Yes.
because you really weren't missing a lot that way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. And so what would you say to someone who's considering getting their diploma or GED through Vermont Adult Learning?
I would say go for it. It really is a great program. The instructors are really awesome. High school teachers are great, but if you're looking for more, almost like a broader outlook, definitely go there.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you feel a little bit more prepared for life.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, congratulations to you. And I look forward to hearing about your success and hearing about your business when you are ready to start it.
Oh, thank you.
But enjoy college while you're there. That's
you.
great. So, Natalie, back to you. We just only have a couple more minutes, but is there anything you want to say about what your funding picture looks like, what you need? This is sort of our wrap-up time, so get in whatever you'd like.
So our funding picture, we are funded mostly under grants from the Agency of Education, Vermont, and we also have a federal grant. But we really rely on additional funding sources. So even though that's our primary grants, it really doesn't cover everything.
Yeah.
We rely on specific smaller grants like that Energy Works. That's a different grant. And for Addison County, the United Way of Addison County is huge for us.
Oh,
They've
good.
been very generous, and we really use the money from there to do some things that we can't do under our normal grants. But we also donations are very much appreciated and used and necessary.
Yeah, sure.
And we did get PPP money through the pandemic.
Payroll protection program.
But we don't have it now. That was then. This is now, and we are finding that we do need additional funds.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there
they can
feels
go
compelled,
to your website, which we'll have on there. And anyway, it's been great to have you both here. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Macey. And that's it for now. My guests today have been Natalie Reigle, Regional Director for Vermont Adult Learning, and Macey Thayer, a former Vermont Adult Learning student. Thanks to MCTV for producing this show. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next time.